Hello and welcome to episode 208 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
And I'm Jeff Mayo.
Top of the evening to you, Jeffrey.
Top of the evening. And this podcast is brought to you by Rowlet. Look at this boy.
Absolutely. We're proud of it.
Yes.
I wish I could if Rowlet could talk, I would just let him have this podcast. Rowlet's not even paying us. Yeah. If I just have to say at the very top, if you are somehow just listening to this episode and you haven't listened to an episode in a while, please go listen to, actually 8 episodes ago, right? Episode 200, which just came out with Will and Jacob. We did our Big Game Awards betting special, and I was very proud of it. It was very, very good.
Yep. Well, a couple more things to promote. If you also haven't listened to this, we did an Arcane Spoilercast with more of the Coven.
Hell yeah, we did.
I'm glad to get them out of something from ours.
Yes, I am too. I mean, it's been a long time coming. We've been like flirting back and forth with that. I think. I don't think it was streamed. I was about to say I played with them. I don't know. Was that streamed? I don't know if it was streamed or not. Yeah. This could be second appearance, but no one watched that random stream if we did. Anyway, yeah. It was very good to talk about Arcane. Very good to have them on. We have lots of thoughts. We talked for like an hour and 20 minutes. I feel like we could have kept going. Yeah, more. Yeah. There's just I feel like as soon as we stopped, there was characters. So I was like, oh, we never talked about this character. We never talked about that. It's like there's a lot in that show to dissect.
Well, and also other things to promote. You might, if you're on camera, you might notice our little pipple up there. We got that because we started our Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke streaming series. First episode up on YouTube and Twitch VODs. Planning on continuing that hopefully later this week.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're definitely going to keep that going. Our sword one was a lot of fun, so I'm excited to see this.
Darby, I'm worried about this Nuzlocke. I'm just hearing stuff about like gym leaders having crazy strategies, and especially I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there, Darby. We might have to reevaluate the rules for the Elite Four.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm definitely not before that, but for that we might have to talk. Also, look forward to Game Awards reactions next week. Plan on doing those.
We will both be there.
Yep. I got my schedule as of right now. I am good.
Yep. And we may have other people on the Discord. We'll see. But no matter what, me and Jeff will be there. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully, Keeley has some interesting things for us.
Sting will be there.
So there you go. It's already interesting.
Yes, they announced Sting is going to perform his song from Arcane.
Okay, yeah, I do remember now that he was like, I have no clue what song was from Sting, but I do remember. Yeah. I do remember.
Should be good. Should be good.
Well, hell yeah, that's cool. I was gonna say maybe some league announcements, but I feel like we already got all the league announcements that we're probably gonna get right now, like last week. So
well, Dari, okay, I'll throw this out there because screw it. Let's talk real quick. I had this thought. Potentially, we could still get a league announcement because that presentation we got shortly before were like the indie related ones. And then we got Project L, which is a big one, of course, but it got its own thing. We could get another quote unquote Riot developed league project.
Just would they be ready? What would that be? I don't even know.
I mean, they may not be ready. They might announce it.
That's true. I mean, they could do a very early
little teaser thing for the MMO. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, the MMO is the only thing I know of in the future. But who knows? I mean, and it also could be a new character, I suppose. Yeah, for the base game. Because that's coming up soon, who knows? Yeah, I mean, it could also just.
I guess they go against their thing, but who knows? They could announce, hey, new studio doing a big budget single player league story.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, certainly they've announced things there before. Just I would look, but you're right about the Forge thing, and then Project L was probably so far in the future, and it was just kind of an update. They probably didn't want to put that there. I understand, next year is probably when it's going to be like, boom, we're at a big thing, surprise you with a big thing. But yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of Project L, we'll talk about that later.
We will talk about that later. Boy, I'm so excited. God, it looks so good. It looks so good.
But Darby, first, we played some games.
We did play a lot of games.
Well, and speaking of League
of Legends,
you have played Ruin King, a League of Legends story, or at least the beginning of it.
That I have, yeah. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of it. Partially from being busy, and partially from playing a good bit of a different game that we'll talk about a little bit later. But I definitely, just from the little taste I've had of it, I am super into it, and I definitely plan to, see it through and go continue with it. We'll just see how fast I do because it's me.
Yep.
But yeah, so this is kind of, as far as I know, like the first just spin-off single player story in League of Legends game we've had. And it's I forget the name of the studio, but like they've made whatever their previous game, Battle Chasers, I think was the name of it. This is apparently
Airship Syndicate.
Yeah, that's right. This is basically Battle Chasers, apparently, with like a League of Legends skin and some twists on it, but it's very much taking.
It sounds like, based on the little I've heard from the developers and Battle Chaser fans, it's gameplay wise, it seems like what you would expect out of a follow up to that game. It's the same style with a few couple additions to it.
Right, but from what a lot of people said, it's like leveled up a lot and everything. And I think that was smart overall to get this like indie studio that has a proven formula, but just like slap League of Legends on it and everything, because it works. Because it's cool so far. Obviously, I'm very, very early. I really haven't gotten the party together. I've played as like two different characters separate. Okay. But it's also interesting with the second character. I had these minor characters who were not like real playable characters that came on. I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna auto battle. It's like, oh no, I got to control them too, and they had their own move sets and everything. So like right now, I'm controlling 3 people. 2 of them are just kind of basic, and 1 is like has more involved move set. So
that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. But so basically, the game is like so far has been split into like 2 different parts of it. It's a turn-based battle system, which I'll get more into in a second, and then it's the you're kind of like going through a town or a dungeon or whatever, and there's like you can smash pots and there's like puzzles and things like that, dungeon crawler things. So it's like a mix between like kind of actively doing things and more turn-based, but I don't want to make it sound like it's mostly an overworld before you go into battles. It's not like you're like dodge rolling or doing crazy things like that. It's just like it's a turn-based RPG with a more interactable map, basically. And it seems like later there's going to be like I don't know, platforming. I don't think you can jump, but there's going to be like obstacles. There's going to be things in the overworld more so than just a like random battle thing. So which is cool. Like a cool like added element. But I think the big draw here is you're going to need to be into the turn-based combat, which I think so far they're doing this in a very interesting way, because obviously I've played a lot of turn-based RPGs. They're like very similar. This has a cool concept to it where it's like you and all of your party, there's basically 3 different lanes that you can put your moves on. So you can, any move you cast, like an attacking move or a healing move or a buff move or whatever, has 3 different modes. It has like a speed mode, a balance mode, and a power mode. And if you do the speed mode, it'll like damage less, but you'll go earlier in the turn order. And if you do middle, it's about the middle. You do power, it's more damage later in the turn order.
For I saw, it at the bottom has like the little turn order thing or whatever. Like, how much do you see of it? You see a good bit, or is it just kind of what's going on now and then like only 1 or 2 people in the future?
It's like I've never been able to see like 2 of my moves on the board at once. Like it's like so far at least it's whatever I put there, it's basically 1 turn at a time, but you're going to be able to see who all is going to go before or after you in this turn order, basically before, and then when it gets back around, it kind of like shuffles back through. So like I can totally see how when you have a full party, that's going to become like a risk reward of like, will they be able to survive this hit if I put them later and try to just kill this person, or do I need to play it safe? But is it too safe?
Or imagining someone's probably going to be able to heal. So it's like, okay, do I heal a lot right now? Like 1 person or 2 people hurt, so let's do quick. They'll both be healed less, but they both get healed.
Right. Yeah, but they might be taking hits too if you like put it too late. Like right now, it's pretty simple because I'm mostly controlling 1 person. It's kind of teaching me the concept. This battle system, when you're controlling 1 person or even like 1 person and 2 grunts, it's not like the most engaging thing. But like whenever we get a full party, I could totally already see how this is going to get kind of wild. And they've introduced like later around where I'm at in the game, they start introducing like status effect things that the enemies can cast. And the interesting if they or enemies or the environment basically can make happen. And those like there'll be a block on the turn order thing, and if your turn order falls into that block, you'll get the buff or debuff, whatever it is.
So you might go fast or slow to avoid
that, right? So that's why I've already had to attack early to like avoid this oncoming debuff thing or whatever, or attack late to get into a heal block thing or whatever. And that's basically they've just introduced like damaging and healing ones, but like it's very much they said like there's all kinds of different like status effects that can happen with this. And then there's already been like some enemies like whenever they die they're going to damage you or something, so you have to kind of like go around that. Like I set someone up to heal and then kill them because they're going to do some last like attack or last hurrah before they die. So like it feels like it's a turn-based RPG that's leaning into like almost like a puzzle type, like there's lots of status effects and different things like that you're having to kind of like arrange what you're going to do and when to avoid that type of stuff. And like so far like it's a very interesting concept. I think it's probably going to get decently hard. I could see this becoming a like tricky, like, ooh, what am I going to do?
Once you get everyone, it's like, okay, we've taught you all the basics. You should be good. Here's the difficulty spike.
I'm expecting that. I'm fully expecting that. But I'm here for it. And I think you're going to like this a lot too, because it definitely, it's turn-based. It's definitely that kind of thing. But this is an interesting twist on it that I wasn't expecting. Like looking at the trailer, it was kind of hard to show off that concept completely. But like now that I'm in it, I think it's pretty cool. I think it sounds like a pretty cool concept. And then other than that, the story so far is also pretty cool. It's I'm still very early on in it, and right now it's like basically covering like all the same things that I've read in the short stories for I've Controlled Misfortune and Alawi, like the big monk lady. And it's basically I've read both those short stories, and so far it's like covering a lot of that stuff. But in both cases, I've kind of like started to branch out of what I know, which is cool. So it's like now, and they've had it basically like I think they've told the stories of a lot of these characters in like the beginnings of it basically, and I think this game seems like it's going to like put them all together and like tell the next chapter of it. Like
gotcha.
Go forward.
So you're expecting to kind of play as the other ones, kind of maybe by themselves,
probably, and then all team up. I imagine, it's something like that. So it's very early, but like on all sides of it, I am interested. I've been reading all the like journals and stuff that I've gotten because it's all just like seems very, very interesting right now. I like Bilgewater, this like Pirates of the Caribbean type place, which is very cool and very different than the Arcane setting. It's again just showing the kind of like
the diversity of the environments in Runeterra.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of different themes you can have in here that is pretty neat.
Indeed.
So I am excited to continue forward in it. And I think so far from what I played, I think you're going to like this too whenever you do get around to it. Yeah.
I'm sure.
And it's an exciting first step. I mean, especially it's very much an indie game in a good way too, or whatever. But it's like a top-down isometric turn-based RPG and stuff. It's like I think it's a very good first step for this. I'm excited to see what this ramps up into for like future League projects and everything. But
yeah, it's very interesting. I'm curious to see how this sells, obviously, and how it's generally received. I haven't read too much because I didn't want to see too much. It seemed positive reception-wise. I don't know how well it's selling or anything.
Yeah. Do you think the shadow drop was a good idea?
Let's trying to think. We kind of was around it. I think so. I think it got some hype around it and everything. I don't know how much it would potentially change his stuff. And honestly, as far as I know, everyone's like, "Oh, this is a busy time of year and everything." Well, for me and you, not really. But and I feel like the people who are really into this, the stuff that's coming all around here, like the Battlefields, the CODs, the Halos, and all that stuff, people may not care for as much. So I think timing wise is good. I feel like maybe if it did come out at a different time, it might have conflicted with other, games that might have got an audience.
Early next year is not looking like a good time to go. So it's like, if anything, this might be better than that.
Yeah. Let's say it did come out early next year. I know kind of different philosophy, but triangle strategy, that could have pulled like strategy fans from it or something.
Yeah. Oh, and even if like there's also the argument of like should they have, because they went completely radio silent on this game. Like this game was always supposed to come out this year, but I just assumed like okay, it got delayed because because they didn't say anything. So it's like there's an argument of maybe they should have said something, but like I do think for like the upcoming MMO or a future like high budget like AAA, like we're trying to go for a mass audience type of thing, like probably don't shadow drop that. But for this kind of like more niche turn-based RPG thing to kick this thing off, I do think I think that this could be a cool way to do it like this. And it's like this is a game that I like. Arcane blew the hell up. I don't think this game is ever going to like blow up, and like the MMO I think will probably blow up, like a future RPG will blow up. I don't think a game like this Project L is going to blow up. I think this is going to be like League fans who are like really want to more of the lore and all of this are going to be in, and if you get just some more people, Battle Chaser fans, you get some more people, I think it's a success. You get League fans plus a little bit more, and that's where I would expect this to be.
Again, curious how it sells and how it does compared to Riot's expectations. I'm just curious about their expectations for this stuff.
We have nothing to base it on because this is the kind of the first time they ventured into this, so I have no clue what they expect from this exactly. But the fact that they're like they're doing a bunch of them at once is maybe a good sign. Where it's like, okay, they're like maybe not all of these are gonna hit. They're okay with that. There's they're kind of and just how open they were with all these indie studios. Apparently they just like what character do you want to work with? What story do you want to tell? And like seems like they're doing it the right way, for sure.
Indeed. All right, Darby. I've also been playing a little game that came out recently.
A little indie game
called Guardians of the Galaxy from the smallest company in the world, Disney.
Marvel?
Owned by a mouse.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Made by Squeenix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know any of these names. Wow.
Yeah.
It's tiny, unheard of.
Yep. So Guardians of the Galaxies. Well, been out for a bit. Been out for about a month at this point. Really good, Darby. Really good so far. I'm on chapter 6. I don't know how many chapters there are. Time-wise, I feel like I'm probably about a third way through.
Okay. Nice.
Feels right.
About how long you think you played? I don't even know how long this game is. 20 hours is what people say?
I've been seeing 15, 20. I feel like I've maybe been playing I've played roughly like 5 or something, maybe. Give or take a little bit.
Nice.
But I just want to say I was right when the trailer first showed. I was positive on it while everyone else was down on it.
Absolutely.
I was like, this looks like they have a lot of potential. But I am very impressed with this game so far. The characters are a lot of fun. I feel like I will come out of this probably liking these versions of these characters more than the movies. Nice. I say that. I think that can be understandable if it has a certain degree of writing, just because I'll be spending a lot more time with these characters.
Like twice as much time, if not way more.
Yeah, because, we had Guardians 1 and 2 and everything, and then they were split between Infinity War and stuff. Well, and most of the Guardians weren't even a lot of in-game, so...
Right.
So, there's that, and it was just kind of fun getting more of these characters' lore, or at least a version of it, because, they're comic book characters, so there's a whole bunch of things on it, so
much stuff that we don't know, but...
Yeah, especially with these characters, because you asked me when you watched me play a little bit, you were like, so is Rocket's origin story ever been mentioned, like in the movies and stuff? Because I don't remember that. I was like, no, Dari, I don't believe it is actually really mentioned in the movies, or at least not. It's not a big focus. But what's funny, then not long before you started watching me, that they go over it, at least this version of the characters, or backstory, origin story, or whatever in the game. So that's just kind of fun, and just the twists they have on these characters. Like, they mention like Thanos and stuff, and what's happened up to this point with Thanos in the game universe is different than like MCU or what you would expect maybe from the comics, which is interesting and could lead to some stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool. I've heard a lot of people say it's like, if you're not a comic fan or whatever, but you just really like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies or whatever, and you just kind of want to know more about the characters, this is gonna provides a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because this is definitely more in the style of the game I was hoping Avengers would be.
Yeah.
It is just it is a very linear single player game. Like there's not really much room. Like they're not even really side quests like that I've seen. The closest thing to like you would want to get out of side quests is there are these artifact things you can find that open up conversations with the other guardians. Is you know closest thing you would want. You want to find those,
right? But it seems like they're leaning into like the story, and the biggest thing is just the relationship between all the characters. And it's like they have a path. They wanted to like deliver these dialogue options and didn't want to add. They want you to hear these because that's the point of the
and they didn't try to shoehorn any semi-open or open world shit, so it's linear, so all the set pieces look very cool and are different from each other.
It looks very Tomb Raider to me in like philosophy and like
which is funny because it's not the Square Tomb Raider
but
they did make one.
They did make one. They made the most recent one, which is very good. No one fucking played it, but it's very good.
Yeah. So you can definitely, I agree if you see some of that in this design. Though, I would definitely say, I mean, I might be wrong on this, but what I remember of the first reboot game, and I imagine it's similar. A lot less focus on combat in this compared to, I would say, the Tomb Raider games, because they are very. I mean, I know this is the case in like Tomb Raider and stuff for the most part, but they have very set points when combat happens.
Right.
And
like Tales of Arise, dude. Like that's the only thing that it reminded me of because like you straight up went to like a battle circle and you were like choosing when to. You had a grid there at the bottom choosing like my teammate's gonna come in here or whatever. I was like, this is straight up like Western Tales of Arise.
But the battles overall are kind of more like spread out. For sure, there'll be chapters and stuff where there's a lot more combat and stuff, but. It is Pokemon chapters. There are chapters where there is no combat whatsoever, and honestly, and what I'm about to say, I don't necessarily mean this in a bad way. The combat is the weakest part of this game. I think the combat's fine and serviceable, and honestly, I think it works in the way of you're controlling Star-Lord, and with picking the characters up, it is chaotic like you would expect from you having a team of 5 fighting a group of people. I think it works in that way, and I think honestly they were very smart to kind of not hit you over the head with combat like, well, we have to have combat. It's been 15 minutes. Why haven't we had combat?
Right, yeah. I kind of wanted to get to that a little bit because I think that's something in general. I mean, like, you could take like the gameplay not being potentially overstating its welcome. That's kind of a different conversation. But as far as like it having a bunch of chapters without combat and everything, like I wish more games would realize they don't have to do that because like there's no movie that would ever be like was like, well, we haven't, like I don't know, we haven't had a combat thing in every 5. I mean, I guess some action movies do, but it's like. It's a weird thing because a lot of games, because they're interactive like that, they feel like there's a quota that they can't like have too much character stuff here before they have to like shoehorn in this thing where it's like you really don't. If it's a good experience, and if story is one of your strengths, then that's what you're leaning into, and the story dictates that this would be a section that needs a lot of story or interactability that doesn't have to involve combat. Fucking do it, It's like I think it's gonna be a better experience if you like do the thing that's best for the story and do the thing that's fun at that moment. It's like yeah.
And because it's the Guardians, and I guess a Marvel thing in general, but particularly the Guardians, and you are playing as Peter Quill. Sometimes there's one scene that just happened where it's like, oh, we're gonna go into a combat thing here. And then it's like, oh no, we're going to do something stupid and goofy. I mean, stupid and goofy in the best way, of course. Instead of actually fighting, and it's great. Nice. And I know a lot of people, and even I was kind of like, I'm curious how it's going to go when them picking, like deciding, oh, you're just playing as Peter and Star-Lord. I think that was the right choice for what they're doing with this game. Because you're making the choices with him and, building Peter's relationship with the team members and all that kind of stuff, and they get separated sometimes and all that kind of stuff. I think just having it from his point of view is the right way to go.
And it feels that they lean really hard into like you are the leader of this group.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of mechanics like
and you're making choices like and some of the choices. I'm curious. I can see like once I get through it and look at stuff that the choices may not matter, but at least in the moment, there's sometimes I'm like, this feels
add flavor. It's
well, it's kind of like. this might change some stuff. Like they even like do the Life is Strange or those kind of things. Like some of this just reminds me of Life is Strange in a way, just the way the game works and some of these things, like walking around and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool. Yeah.
But again, in the moment, it's like once you do make a choice and it plays out, it's like I don't know how how this would necessarily work if I did the other thing. Again, if I look and see what happens with the other choice, it might be, stuff plays exactly the same or whatever. But I imagine the way this has worked for the most part, except for maybe one or two choices. I don't know if this has multiple endings. I can probably not. Sure, yeah. But I imagine the way the choices probably work is it does change what happens in in the chapter, but the chapter ends the same.
Yeah,
the ending is the same for the chapters, but how you got there might
I think
different.
The vague things from what I've heard, if you want me to tell, I mean, I don't know fully, but like the vague things that I've heard, I think is like, kind of like you said, I think you somewhat into the same place or whatever, but I think there are I think there are sections that it's like if you choose this option, you're not going to play through this one section. Like at a certain point, the branching, you actually play two different chapters basically at a certain point because of that. And I do think your like banter with them will obviously change depending on some of that stuff too.
Oh no, there's definitely some choices where I'm like, they don't like what I'm doing as leader,
right.
and that's great.
And it also sounds like the game does what I'm glad. I always hate it when like there's a narrative choice game, but there's no bad options. Like ever. Like both options are just equally good at all times. I'm like, no, fuck no. That's not how this works. That's not how life works. You make the wrong choice sometimes. And, yeah, I've heard like from everything I've heard, I would not expect multiple endings, but I would expect like some pretty drastic, cool flavor text.
Yeah, and it does do the Life is Strange telltale shit. Like once you tell like one of the more important choices has a little thing in the top right, like Rocket will remember this. Right. Rocket feels this way about it.
Yeah, that's a fun dynamic for this game. And like there's something about the Guardians that I feel like are the perfect team up game for that kind of to like really delve into the how's the party feel and about like everything I'm doing or whatever, because it's like they're the goofiest party members, but they're also in a way like some of the most kind of emotional, or like they have like the most distinct personalities. They have their banter off each other is very like, it makes sense that they would be like constantly talking, they'd be constantly giving each other shit or like feeling some way about
well, and one thing I mentioned to you, just a very light like spoiler thing for it, as far as like character interactions, Drax is like not sure about Gamora, who's like the newest member of the team, because it's not like the MCU where they kind of, besides Rocket and Groot, meeting all at once and they became a team. It was kind of, they joined kind of individually and kind of met in what you would expect more naturally. But Drax is kind of like not sure about Gamora because she is Thanos' daughter.
Right, it makes sense.
And that makes sense, because if honestly, like, I like Guardians 2 and stuff, but I might be remembering wrong, but they kind of it feels like they dropped the whole Drax wanting to get revenge on Thanos thing after the first movie.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember.
Like that was like felt like a bigger part of his character, and even Infinity War, it felt like, besides when they saw Thanos kind of a smaller thing, like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I think that was, I mean, and it's probably in the MCU is one of those things that they have so many things they're juggling, but it's still a weakness. And I mean,
I'm not saying the MCU is bad for how they went about it necessarily. It's just it's kind of cool to get probably would be more of a natural thing, and it makes sense because this is going to. Because, as we mentioned, the story for these, we'll be seeing these versions of the characters longer than MCU ones. They gotta kind of make it 2-ish hours quickly. Oh, they become a team and friends and all that kind of stuff.
Right, yeah. It's a way harder thing to do. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting to compare this to the Avengers, because, like, going into Avengers, several of the biggest things we were worried about was, the studio hasn't really done this multiplayer thing. It seems like they're trying to do these weird, like, two halves of this game, and they're going to go. And it was like, playing as all the Avengers sounds cool on paper, but are you going to be able to make them all feel like, satisfying to do this whole thing or whatever? Just like, I'm sure there's a version of this Guardians game where you could play as all the Guardians and it would be a blast. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to do. And it feels like if they were going to, it just feels like they went into this with the, like, let's have a focused vision. Let's not try to bite off more than we can chew with this. But let's also, like, we know that people are going to be kind of bummed about this. Let's make the game about, like, because it sounds like even though you're not playing as all the other characters, it's still all about them. Like, you still get their characters very, like, you know, it's a very big part of the story. It's part of the decision making. I mean, like, you're basically, it's leader simulator. It's group leader simulator where you're having to manage emotions, manage all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, I think it's cool.
Indeed. I'm trying to think if anything else. Oh yeah, they're a little buggy. It can be a little buggy. Some weird little thing. It's not like too bad or anything. I've seen some little frame hitches here and there, like sometimes when I'm traveling and going from place to place. There was one weird glitch where I got back to the ship after a giant battle or whatever, and cutscenes got me back to the ship or something like that. And then I get there and Gamora and Drax are still holding their weapons when they're obviously not supposed to. So I turn around and Drax is looking out the window with his arms folded, but his blades are going through his chest.
Drax, no!
And then that continued, and I look at their hands, and they're not even holding it. Their hands are kind of flat like this, but the weapon is attached to their thing. And then I restarted the game, and it was fine.
I've always had, it's always so funny because they start like animating with their hands, and their guns just like flopping around.
Like, Gamora, you're cutting your face.
Oh, it's fun. I don't know. I'm such a curmudgeon asshole, especially when it comes to gameplay. And watching the gameplay of this, I do think it does not look very interesting to me, but the story and everything else does. So, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might watch someone play. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Again, it's like the combat is fun, and it doesn't, at least so far, like. I mean, I might get tired of it by the end of this game or whatever, but so far it's fun and feels like it'd be like a Guardian thing. Like I said, the chaoticness of it. But yeah, you're there for the story and all that. I mean, I feel like there's a decent chance because you'll go in the right expectation of what this game is. You probably come out maybe liking it better than Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more interested in some of these other aspects of it. You know, it's like, and the fact that it's like an in and out linear story. Like, I'm kind of into that. And the fact that you got it on PS5, so you can just play your copy there is also a plus. Because I also was like, I didn't know if I wanted to pay full price for this game. That I'm just not sure. Because every time I see it played in gameplay, I'm like, that's just not going to be fun for the whole time for me. You know, But everything else about it seems to be, you know, very like the best version of what I thought it could be.
Yeah. A very surprising game, which I think is, you know, inherent by the, you know, people's reception to it, because I've seen a lot of, this is my goatee talks on it. Hopefully sales reflect it, because it didn't start out strong, so hopefully it just kind of has legs.
Right. No. Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling I'm more interested in this than, like, we talk about all these, like, Disney properties blowing up. Like, I'm way more interested in this than I am in, like, Jedi Fallen Order, which was kind of a stinker to me in a lot of ways. Partially because, like, the gameplay just got very old. The gameplay got old in that one, and the story was a big old nothing burger. Whereas this looks like the one thing they can guarantee you is that the story is not nothing. It's gonna be entertaining. Yeah.
Yes. So. Been some very entertaining moments. All right, Darby. Unfortunately, I've had some issues, so I have not played this game yet. But tell me,
who doesn't know you got some issues, Jeff?
Tell me about the Halo Infinite multiplayer.
Shit's fun, Jeff.
Oh yeah,
shit's fun. I mean, it's one of those that it's like, when I played the first night, like, I had a good time. Don't get me wrong, I had a really good time. But it was like, I've seen people like over the moon. I was like, yeah, it was fun. But, you know, it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, hold your horses a little bit. I mean, it was fun. But I have definitely, especially we played it again. We played it 2 nights, and especially after that second night, I found myself like, I really want to go play again. Like, I really want to play.
I need to jump on. Now I got my PC. I need to jump on with you guys.
And, like, I was thinking about playing it by myself, which, I mean, I'm not good at it. I'm certainly not good at it. And I think it'd be a lot more fun with the boys, you know, playing it with all y'all.
Because that'd be very casual. Because if you have me on your team, you're not playing to win.
I mean, Jeff, I'm pretty bad too, so don't feel too bad. But we won a fair amount. We won about half of our games, so it's like thereabouts. So you can't ask for too much more than that. But it's like it's interesting because like really they're not doing a whole lot different than previous Halo multiplayers. Which to be fair, I didn't play a whole lot of Halo multiplayer as a kid. I mostly played the campaign and then like dicked around in Forge with my friends. But I did play some. It's not that different. A lot of the game modes are the same. A lot of the weapons... actually, some of the... about half of the weapons are the same. The weapons get crazy. There are some, like, cool new weapons. But, like, a lot of the maps are the same. A lot of the things are, like, what you remember. It's definitely leaning into nostalgia. But I think maybe it's half that, like, that nostalgia works because it's really been that damn long since I've played and since a lot of other people have played. Because, like, I am far from the only one who has not played 4 or 5. It's been a while.
Yeah, continue on, but I want to jump off that point for something.
Yeah. But it's also, like, it feels like what you think Halo was like back in the day, but I think it's really not. It feels a lot more modern because, like, I jump into it and, like, it controls just as good as like Overwatch.
Yeah.
Which Halo back in the day did not control as good as Overwatch. That's just not how it, it's like that's rose-colored glasses in a lot of ways. So like they have found a way of making this like older Halo experience translate it into the modern time and make it feel really good, especially on mouse and keyboard. Feels fantastic. And just in general, it's like this is like a step. This is a cool, different step because I have long for the last few years when I've actually started getting the multiplayer shooters. Like I have no interest in like Call of Duty. That's just straight deathmatch.
Yeah,
like just who everyone has the similar guns, just shooting each other. Whoever kills the most wins. Boom.
And
like,
hacks
and lots of cheating. I have no interest in that. So I've definitely gravitated more towards the Valorant, the Overwatch. I mean, mostly those two. With the strategy team based stuff like this. This is a cool middle ground between that because like where I'm playing with Alex and Preston, we're like on a team for all this, and there are objectives. Like they have like oddball where you have to hold the ball for the longest time. Like you just both teams are just trying to kill each other to get this ball, and whoever holds it a certain amount of time collectively wins. There's capture the flag. There's all these other team things, but it does feel kind of old school in the like it is a lot of just like you're in a lobby with other people shooting them, and it's not quite as team-based like dependent as Overwatch or Valorant, which is kind of nice. It's like it's definitely like fulfills a different itch than those or whatever.
Yeah,
but it also doesn't feel as just kind of stale as a like Call of Duty deathmatch. So it's like it's an interesting like middle ground for me that I'm actually like kind of itching to get back into more of.
As someone who has no experience with Halo and haven't touched the game yet and all that kind of stuff, it's very interesting hearing people talk about like the Halo Infinite thing. Because the praise seems to be pretty universal, which is awesome. I'm happy for Halo fans and the Halo team and all that, but it is kind of interesting because you mentioned it feels kind of nostalgic for you because you haven't really played 4 or 5 much or at all, but it seems like even people who did play them and were very disappointed in them seem to really be liking this game. And from the outside I'm like, you're kind of explaining it, but I'm not really sure like how this is necessarily different. I mean, I believe them when it says it feels different, but it's just kind of interesting. And I can definitely see like the middle ground thing you're talking about, and that might be the reason why people are really liking it. Is maybe even like it being the difference maker between people not liking 5 and Infinite, because it's been 6 years since that.
Right.
Is Halo, with what it is, like you said, kind of being a weird middle ground thing. We've only had the extremes, really. Like as far as the big popular ones, we've had the deathmatch Call of Duties and crazy Battlefield stuff and all that kind of stuff. And the other side, the Overwatches and the stuff. So just kind of having that.
And wherever you slot Battle Royale into that, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's there too. So having Halo being this and just kind of feeling like you were saying, old school, but feels really well like how you remember, is probably like just hitting the spot for lots and lots of people.
Right. It's a weird game where it's like you have rifles and sniper rifles and things like that. They are very much like the people who can click the heads and do the things or whatever are really good. But there's also this crazy gun that just shoots these like orbs out in a horizontal line and then they bounce all over the place. So it's like, yeah, this guy with the sniper rifle is just fucking my shit up. But if I catch him in this corridor, I'm just like blasting this shit.
We're near Talada, bitch.
Yeah, it's fucking, that's what it's like. This like horizontal. It's like, yeah. And like, or I get in one of the big ships or whatever and it's just like slam into someone. Do something. I mean, like, it's weird. There's definitely the like, if you can aim, you're going to be better than other people, but there's also some equalizers of just some crazy wacky guns that are still very fun to play and very fun to do and everything. And my favorite mode that we've done so far it's called Fiesta, and it's every time you die you have a random gun when you come back.
Nice.
And that has been the most fun thing in the world because like it still feels like the best team wins. Because like you're all getting random guns, so you're gonna get some that are better than others, and sometimes they're gonna get you good guns and you don't or whatever. But it like goes back and forth, so it's like it keeps it very fresh for me, who's like not super great at the game because I'm just getting all these wacky guns all the time. But it also like again, it's like a good balance between skill and fun when it comes to these things. So I can't exactly. I'm kind of in the same boat where I can't really pinpoint exactly why, but like I found myself, I was like, I really want to play this. I really want to play this more. Like even though it's not doing it, there's no like super specific new mode. The newest thing I can say is just there's a lot of new guns that are like really cool. So and I would say I'm like kind of closer to you with the like I have nostalgia for the Halo campaigns. I really didn't play a ton of Halo multiplayer online. Like I played a lot of Forge, is where I've spent most of my like time just like building things, and like you would just go in there with your friend, just build something, and then like, all right, we built this whole thing. Now let's go fight each other. You know, that's what you just did random BS. So like I'm closer to you in the sense that some of this is still pretty new to me, even if I have some nostalgia for it, and I'm like really enjoying it. You know, so.
Darius stay on me. I just had a thought. They should get some other Microsoft properties involved. Spiral Mountain Map.
Oh, let's go, baby. Let's go. That would be awesome if they lean into some things like that.
Yeah, I guess. And obviously, this is a giant win for Microsoft, just kind of the reception for this. I'm kind of curious about like how the campaign's going to be received and all that when it comes out.
Just two different games. It's why, especially them coming out at two different times and multiplayer just coming out of nowhere. It's an interesting strategy, and I don't know if it's good or bad strategy yet from them. Like I'm loving it.
Okay, to jump off you saying they're kind of two different games. I think doing the shadow drop is good. Like you were asking if Ruined King shadow drop was a good idea. This was a good idea. Like no doubt.
I mean, it feels like it to me.
Yeah, I feel like the moment they announced this was free to play and kept pretty much being separate. Yeah, Halo succeeding does mean two different things. Halo Infinite succeeding means kind of two different things. Like, part of it can succeed while the other one doesn't, and that's kind of always true, but it's even more so with the kind of split they're doing.
I hope it's not the case, but there is certainly a world where like the campaign kind of fades into obscurity, but the multiplayer is like it succeeds just because of the multiplayer. But like, I mean, I think we should go ahead and assume they're going to treat it almost like two different games, because I think the fact that they made the multiplayer free to play, the fact that they basically did the Apex Legends of like, boom, it's there.
Yeah.
I think they're like, this is something that they're going to be supporting for years and years, and this is they're wanting, like, Microsoft is wanting to have one of these, Warzone, Fortnite, League, Apex, one of these that is just like, there's no cost of entry, so you're going to get a lot more people in, and you're going to just like put out cosmetic skins and battle passes and stuff and keep it going.
Okay, so the balance of that, something I just thought of. Do you think there's ever going to be a follow-up to Halo Infinite multiplayer?
No.
Okay.
I really don't. Yeah. I truly...
I thought that's what you were going to say based on what you're going for, but I just didn't really think about that until just now.
Or if it does, it's still going to be free to play, so basically no.
Because now that you made it free to play, and again, I just kind of thought about that, it's hard to go back on that.
I think they have no intention.
And especially with Game Pass, like, I'm sure they're looking at all this stuff. I mean, they expected that, and that's their plan going forward. So I think that, it might be a good thing to kind of do that and just kind of update it like all these other ones are. And then maybe just every 5-6 years or whatever the fuck, just drop a new Halo campaign.
I mean, having these multiplayer competitive like shooter games like this, or just any competitive game like this, I mean, and honestly, we're probably going to get to it later for our like pseudo main topic. It's kind of charging the full price and like almost holding the multiplayer hostage for this like full price thing with a campaign or whatever is a very antiquated thing at this point. And even look at like Activision, who's like they refuse to do this with Overwatch for some goddamn reason. Yeah. But Call of Duty, Warzone, look at it. It's like Warzone's eternal at this point. I mean, it's huge, and like if they can get their cheating.
Well, the thing, Warzone was kind of connected to a game originally, but yeah, they did spin it off.
Now it's like you're never gonna remember that it was technically connected to whichever game it was, because like it's like all steam ahead, because like and like I've played several hours of Warzone because I didn't have to pay for like I could get in there.
Yeah,
but it probably makes so much more money than a lot of those other ones, and like I think it's very smart because this. If we talk about there's so many different dynamics here, but if we talk about like just Microsoft and their strategy in general, like it's always been Microsoft and Sony. This is something that Sony doesn't have, and they're not even trying to get really. But Microsoft, I think, is about to step into the ongoing multiplayer realm, and like in a good, like they're gonna have a hit, I think, with this, and that's something that Sony does not have.
Well, didn't they just announce a partnership with a new studio that just kind of formed for a multiplayer game? I might be wrong.
Sony?
Yeah. It was like Fire Access, or not Fire Access, but some studio. We talked about it a little bit ago. It seems like it was a new studio with shooter. I think it was supposed to be a shooter where pretty much they're kind of doing, they might be doing this.
But they'll have the Halo license.
They don't. No. I agree with you.
But, I'm not even. I wasn't necessarily trying to give Sony a side blow. It was more just. I think this is very smart for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Like
take advantage of your biggest, non-Minecraft IP.
Right. And like the fact that they bought Bethesda. They're not going to stop making single player RPG or big action games, things like that. But like this is, if they can get, and I think this is the best way for Halo to be relevant again. They tried with 4 and 5 to do like the normal Halo thing or whatever, and it's like I think this was pretty smart to like, in a weird way, not make multiplayer go down with the ship. If not, I'm making the campaign sound like it's just destined to fail, but at least like the campaign is a moment in time. It's gonna win Game of the Year awards for like whatever year it comes out. The campaign was great. The campaign is a static thing. It is what it is. Multiplayer can just keep going forever and ever. So there's no reason to package them together when this one's going to still be having active players 10 years from now, whereas this other one will not at all. So it's like, I'm glad they're making both, but I think separating them was probably the best thing they could do.
I agree. I think it's definitely a smart move, and I feel like at this point, with all the free-to-play multiplayer games, tying it to a $60 package will just make it not go as well. I know there's Battlefield and Call of Duty is what people would say as the counterpoint to that.
But Call of Duty is basically not the same thing. Warzone, I know they still have their other ones, but Warzone's huge.
But they are Call of Duty. Well, this is a bad time for me to say that because Call of Duty seems to be selling less. It's still Call of Duty, but still. And Battlefield is Battlefield at the moment. Can't launch for shit. Always is a mess. But they are giant IPs, and so is Halo. But those ones come out more frequently, so it kind of still has their fans that want to change over. While Halo is.
No.
It didn't have the best reputation at this point going into Infinite for various reasons. So I think this is a smart move for it going forward.
Yeah, I still am very interested to see just what kind of splash that campaign does make, though. 'Cause I do think this makes it harder for that campaign to sell necessarily. This is all good news for the multiplayer. It's all for the campaign. I mean, because this game's coming out at full price, right?
As far as I know.
So, I mean, like, you have to... That campaign has to be worth full price, basically, for the consumer's mind. And that's just...
Yeah, I was just thinking about that and planning on bringing it up. Yeah, the fact is, it does weirdly enough puts more pressure on the single player because, now it's got to be worth that $60 by itself.
Right.
When there are some people that were just going to buy the package for the multiplayer.
I'm at a weird spot where like I honestly am way more interested in the multiplayer right now, just because that's just kind of how I like playing a lot of games right now is with multiplayer with my friends and everything. And the bummer thing is, I really want to play this campaign co-op with y'all.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I want to play through this. That's not going to happen until they said like summer next year. So I'm like, do I want to play this thing twice, or do I just want to wait till summer to buy it and play it for the first time? And it's really a really big bummer. Like, it does suck that, like, I'm sure I'm not the only one. It's like, that's how I wanted to play the campaign. So it's like, that's another dig on the campaign. It's like, I don't know,
And I'm curious, because this game obviously got delayed for a year, how much of it was multiplayer and how much of it was just the campaign. Did the campaign pull the multiplayer back a year? Yeah. I mean, the multiplayer might have gotten delayed anyway, but it might have come out earlier if it was separate from the start. So, Who knows? All right, Darby.
Speaking of old things being resurrected from the dead,
Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Darby.
It's back. Piplup, baby.
Piplup supremacy.
We don't hear nothing else.
Yep. No, Turtwig and Chimchar, great.
Yeah, they're all great.
But yeah, Darby, we started our Nuzlocke, play a little bit of it pretty early in the game, but I have seen some other stuff, so I can speak to some stuff we haven't got to yet for general things.
Yes, but do you want you start, because you were the one who has obviously played this game, because you've played every Pokemon game under the sun. The original, I mean.
Yeah. I did play Hey You Pikachu, yes.
This man has been.
I've been in this riches. I was about to say that.
What do you think? Go ahead.
I mean, I like. It's what I expected going into it. Is the thing.
I mean, but don't judge it just off of. It looks like the product that was advertised to him, because no shit, it does. What do you actually think, just like in general, of what, from what this is to what it could be, what it should be? Is this what it should be? Is this,
It's disappointing in some ways, and some of the stuff will be reiterating probably what I said when it was announced. Honestly, the art style for it, I'm kind of fine with at this point. I can understand people saying it's kind of jarring going from the chibi models to the normal human-sized models in battles. I get that.
I do. Yeah, that is the one part where it's a little weird, but yeah.
Yeah. But I can kind of respect them kind of going for the old school vibe, and it does make it feel more like the regular thing. I know the cynical version of it, it's cheap, and that's partly of it, but it's something kind of cute about it. I was expecting it to do like literally every other remake, and it just being pretty much made and kind of remade in the engine of the most recent gen is what I expected.
Yeah, I would have been a lot more excited for that, to be honest.
Yeah. That's what I expected. And there are other little things, even the fact that they did remake it in this style, that's kind of disappointing, because it is besides a couple things, kind of 1-to-1 to Diamond and Pearl. Not the updated third version, Platinum, which kind of updated some things, added additional content and all that kind of stuff, and more Pokemon. From what I've seen, a lot of the main things, like all the story stuff they added with Platinum, seems to be out of this game. The additional Pokemon on a lot of the routes or different stuff are not in this game. It's just seems to be the Diamond and Pearl routes and Pokemon you can find. Right. The gym leaders have their Diamond and Pearl teams, which are weaker, because they had like stronger teams and ones that made more sense and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And yeah, that's something that's just like, why not? Why wouldn't you? If you're remaking these things anyway, why
not use the best version of them if you're gonna make it 1-to-1? I feel like some of the shit talk for this game would be kind of down if they just used the Platinum stuff, even if it was kind of more 1-to-1.
Yeah, it just seems like an easy one.
Yeah,
it's just an easy like starting point to make. Yeah.
So there's all that kind of stuff, but it is a Pokemon game, and all the stuff is surprising. I wasn't planning on getting it until we decided, fuck it, we'll Nuzlocke it.
Yeah, and I would say like none of this really has any bearing on my enjoyment of the Nuzlocke. I'm like the Nuzlocke, we could Nuzlocke the original Pokemon if it wasn't for the like grindiness of it. Whatever, it's like the gameplay wise, like I'm just there for doing that stuff. Mm-hmm. But if it was not for the Nuzlocke, I mean, and the same could be said about literally every Pokemon game that I would have no interest in it outside of the Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
But this is like, comparing this to Sword and Shield, it's like half as much interest I already wouldn't play Sword and Shield on my own.
Yeah.
I would never in a million years even make it out the first town of this game on my own.
Yeah.
Just because like it does feel like I'm playing a super duper old game, and like there's not really much about it that makes me feel any different.
Yeah.
You know, the one time we walked up to that lake, I was like, ooh, that was nice. Water, like the sun on the lake was nice. That was the only time that it was like anything felt kind of modern to me. It's like, I don't think the art style is terrible, but I also think it's like not memorable, not interesting in any way. It's not like this awful thing, but it's also, it looks like it was probably an art style that was very cheap to make. You know, it's like
my ultimate cynical take is for the reasons why it is the most basic version of Diamond and Pearl, and the art, you know, even the art style. Which again, there is a world where they decided to maybe do that regardless of the money on it, to make it reminiscent of the original style, is because this isn't Game Freak making this. It is, I forget their name. It is another studio. This is the first kind of mainline Pokemon game that Game Freak has not made. Yeah. That was probably like, okay, you get a more limited budget and just straight up budget than Game Freak gets, and you have this timetable to do it. Get it done. Because even like this, since this is a remake, they could have potentially delayed it, and generally speaking, because it's not as beholden to marketing and shit. It's a remake. Everyone knows the Pokemon. Who cares? Right. But they had Legend Arceus coming out, which I'm sure, wanted to be out before that.
Yes. Yeah. No. For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's the same. It's just the same thing as always with Pokemon. It's like we all know why the games don't take any risks. Don't like really jump at all. Mm-hmm. It's so fucking obvious. It's the most lucrative IP on the planet. I mean, that's kind of in the story there or whatever, and that's why like kind of complaining about it does feel like shouting into the void a lot of times or whatever. Yeah. And it feels there's also for sure as we were playing it, and I'm sitting here doing it again, kind of complaining about this stuff that doesn't even really affect me. Kind of play these games. We are complaining about a game that's designed to be played by like
babies.
Like 5-year-olds like can play and reach the end of this or whatever. You know, at some point, it sounds bad. At some point we are kind of supposed to move on. I'm not saying we should stop playing these games. It's just like we should probably not expect these games to cater to us. Yeah, when it's designed for like elementary school children.
I agree with you. I think that is something a lot of Pokemon fans do forget, that this is catered to kids. And I know if they'll say, I beat this when I was a kid or whatever, and they're not wrong. I mean, I did too, but there was some frustrating head against the wall, and kids these days have shorter attention spans. They'll move on to the next thing very fast. But even then, I do think what Game Freak could do is add options for sure. Like, have a difficulty option. Have what they have now as the difficulty as the base difficulty. Like, even have the difficulty like hidden a couple things so young kids don't accidentally hit it and make it impossible for them. But just have it there. The EXP
you have to type in the special passcode.
Yeah. The EXP share, I love it. I love the EXP share. It could be a little strong at times for sure. But especially for this Nuzlocke where we're going to be switching between like 24 Pokemon throughout this playthrough. I love it. Yeah, but they should be an off switch.
Yes, yeah. That's just not even hard to do. It's just so simple to just have an option to let you
And the reason and I 100% get this. People are frustrated with Game Freak and Pokemon Company and all that shit with the stuff, because a lot of stuff we're complaining about, turning out the XP share, difficulty, and a bunch of other shit, they've had in past games.
Yeah.
Gen 5 had Black or White, or Black and White 2, I can't remember which one, did have a difficulty setting. I think it was some weird thing where it was in one version, not the other. I can't remember. But yeah, it was a thing. And EXP share, you could, when the all team one was first introduced in Gen 6, if I'm not mistaken, you could turn it off. But in like Gen 7 and later, I think they made it so, it's always on. You can't turn it off. Deal with it.
This is just another thing where it's like, I mean, again, I think they are making this game. They are not looking at any fan feedback. because they're making a shit ton of money. Why would they? At some point, it's like, and that kind of things, the like features that aren't in there that have been in the past, but it's like, whatever. Like that just screams to me. This is like, I saw some people making the point that I was about to make earlier before we started the podcast, that this is like they're listening too much to the hardcore fans who just want to take everything back to a lesser degree. I actually don't think that's true at all. I think they're not listening to anyone. They're making these games in a vacuum, and they're like, what's on a spreadsheet, what's the lowest amount of budget we can put in this and still have the same profit? So it's like, apparently we can do, just copy and paste the game, basically. Copy and paste the game, add the cheapest bells and whistles you can. Do not add any new features. If the difficulty wasn't in the past game, it's not in this game, because we're just not going to spend any more time on this. And like, this is going to be a game we forget about in a month, because it's just going to keep selling. It's like, it's gone, Yeah. At some point, I think you kind of just gotta, if you're not satisfied with Pokemon as is and you want to stop buying them, I think you just need to move on from Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it or whatever. But if you still get enjoyment out of them, by all means keep buying them. Like, life's too short.
Yeah.
But instead of like waiting for Game Freak to change, if you've hit your limit, I would say just move on. Move on, because I do not think you're gonna get that. I think Arceus is a good step. Like, I hope there's at least 2 avenues we start to get some of these. Like, we're gonna branch out here. But as far as these remakes and some of these mainline ones, I wouldn't hold your breath.
Again, these remakes are a weird one, because since Arceus is coming out, this one does scream more than compared to the other remakes in general. Just kind of throwing out there because it's kind of expected thing, and it does tie into Arceus as far as being Sinnoh. So. Yeah. I mean, they could come out with the Gen 5 remakes in however many years, and it go back to the way of the past where it is a Gen 10 art style or engine or whatever. And then the Gen 4 remakes are going to be the weird ones, the odd men out.
It just feels like the art style got too much for them to replicate in a remake. They're like, this will take, that took too much time for us to make all those 3D models. Pokemon Sword, we can't do that for this remake. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and this isn't to defend the game, it's just a personal thing. I feel better generally about these remakes knowing, again, Arceus is coming out in it's almost December, I'll say it, next month.
Right.
Where it is going to be like a different version of a mainline Pokemon game, because everyone's like, oh, this shouldn't be indicative of the future. It's not a mainline game. Yes, it fucking is. The Game Freak is promoting it. It is. So, yeah. Excited for Arceus. Don't know how it's actually going to be, but still excited.
Well, you know what was satisfying?
What?
Sex. No, I mean, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing New Horizons. Just as good as sex, you heard it here.
Darby, Nintendo Ninja is coming after us because you said the S word within 5 seconds of Animal Crossing. That is actually illegal.
Yeah, well, I actually committed a crime.
Yeah.
Our podcast,
you committed a war crime.
Our podcast is getting shut down. Damn it.
But yeah, Animal Crossing DLC.
Animal Crossing DLC. I got it, boy. I've been playing a lot more Animal Crossing this week. This week. I had kind of put it aside for a few months as I did other things, but I've been kind of full back in, baby.
Nice.
And part of it is definitely from the DLC. Part of it is just from all the other like random odds and ends and quality of life stuff they added in there. But the DLC has been right up my alley, because the DLC is basically just home design simulator thing or whatever, where you just like get a villager who's like, I want this vague, very broad theme for a thing or whatever, and then you go into you choose a house that you want them to have on the island. You go in there and you have to use like the 3 things that they gave you, but then there's a bunch of, you basically have access to like everything. And it's probably not literally everything in the Animal Crossing design index, but a lot. So it's kind of nice to just like casually, just it doesn't take very long, but you can just kind of like have a burst of creativity without having to work up for it like you do with your own island. You can kind of just have access to everything and just like boom, do it, and then move on and like do another one. It's like it's a very like bite size, in and out, cool.
Yeah, you were saying before like this thing was announced that that's something you like doing. I wish you kind of have more avenue for that and less time consuming. But yeah, I do find it cool that they pretty much made the DLC literally Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, which was the spin-off game.
Yeah, no,
they just made the DLC and made it in this.
Yeah,
which apparently had assistance from Monolith Soft. I mean, what Nintendo game doesn't?
Everything that Nintendo is leaning on that studio.
Best purchase Nintendo ever made.
That's the bedrock of Nintendo. Let's be real.
Hell yeah, it is.
But no, I mean, there's nothing that crazy about it. But like, yeah, it's just. I mean, Animal Crossing is.
Well, that's Animal Crossing in a nutshell.
Animal Crossing is already just pure Zen kind of like. If you describe what you're doing, you're like, and you like this? And it's like, yeah, you know, it's just kind of nice. And after a long day at work, I kind of just want to sit and listen to a podcast and design a robot mech gym for this
peacock,
for this robo peacock, or this like design like the girliest like Barbie dollhouse room I've ever. You walked in, and you're like, that's a lot of pink. It's like, this is what the client wanted, Jeff. The client wanted me to barf pink all into this room, and I did that.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
No, that's nice. I'm glad people got, kind of what they wanted, even if the way they got is not the, what they wanted, it being kind of all at once and not kind of spread out.
Yeah, that was a mistake for sure.
Yeah. But you got it.
Overall, yeah, I think it's very fun. I don't know how I get Brewster, because I have not gotten him.
Oh.
Maybe you have to have already had KK come or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I haven't gotten to the end.
They expect you to at this point.
Probably.
You're a failure as a human.
I'm a failure as a human. I don't get bills nearly as fast as I think everyone else does. I'm probably doing something wrong. I haven't.
You need to invest in the stock market.
I have not done the stocks. I play it very casually, usually for like 30 minutes as I go to bed or something, or just like kind of, Even designing the houses the last few times I've played, I'd be like, that's too much of an investment. I don't have time for that. So I've just like go pick some things, plant some trees.
See, you're playing it the way Nintendo intended.
Basically, very slowly.
Which is wrong.
The amount of content was supposed to last until now. If you play at my pace, it would have. See, everyone just needs to play 30 minutes at a time. It's fine. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it. It's very cute.
Nice.
This game's basically like therapy. It's just like you just like sit and just kind of zen out.
Nice.
After work, it's nice.
You know what else is in, Darby?
Not what you're about to talk about. That's for sure.
What are you talking about? Metroid Dread?
The final boss in Metroid Dread. I can't imagine you had very many cozy vibes with that.
The coziest, Darby. The coziest. So yeah, I finished this Metroid Dread.
Nice. Congratulations to Jeff. Hats off.
I'm a gamer.
He is a gamer. Confirmed.
Yep. It's a good video game, Darby. Very good video game.
So I have heard.
Yep. Finally, I didn't 100% the game. I got a lot of the collectibles, but some of those...
You're a gamer. You're not insane.
True. Some of those Shine Spark, whatever the fuck it's called, puzzles. Fuck those.
Heard it.
Not doing those.
Pain in the butt. How much that boss make you sweat, boy?
Oh, a good bit. Yeah. But I took it down.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Sorry. I thought you meant I took it down. You took the difficulty down. I was like, there's difficulties in the thing?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm not a coward.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna shame. But you did it.
I did do it. Though I will say, maybe this, if it doesn't have difficulty, it should for younger people.
Probably.
Though I have heard about kids beating the game. Parents posting on Twitter like, "I'm so proud of my kid."
Fuck those kids. You know what I'm saying? Come on. If your kid beat Metroid Dread, screw you and your kid.
Yeah. Make that kid go outside.
Yeah, come on. Get a... but I mean, was it? Everyone had said, and I've only played one boss. Everyone said like the boss designs throughout this whole game was really good. I mean,
yes,
it's like
it is excellent. But and I think I mentioned this when we first talked about it. I really like about the boss design for this stuff. It is difficult, but it is manageable, and just kind of you can see what you need to do. It's just all about kind of executing it, because it says in one of the like load screen like little things for boss fights is like every move can be dodged, or no move is a guaranteed hit from a boss. There is some way to avoid it. And that is the case, because I mentioned it to you. I can't remember if it was on the podcast. There's one boss in particular where I was struggling with it. I was dying to it and then once it kind of clicked for me, I killed it so fast I didn't even see its second phase. Ooh, like I had gotten to its second phase before, but the time I beat it, I just beat it so bad it just skipped that phase.
If you're good enough, they let you just body these guys.
Yes, you completely destroy them.
That's satisfying. That's cool. I can't wait to see like games done quick. Someone just like first phase beat every boss in the game.
Let me try to look real quick. I want to see what the speed run record is currently.
I'm sure that's going to be a satisfying one to watch.
1 hour 36 minutes 20 seconds. Oof.
Yeah. We gotta get that down. We gotta get those numbers down. Give them time. We gotta give them time.
Man, I mean, that speed one's crazy. You gotta get through the map. You gotta know exactly where to go. You gotta be able to dodge them Emmys.
Yeah.
Which are a pain. Yeah, beat those bosses.
No way I could do that. Yep. But cool. I mean, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to get to this. I have not given up on this game or anything. Yeah. Can't guarantee by the end of the year. It is November 30th. But
now I can kind of definitely just leave it out or just hand it to you so you can get to it whenever.
Yeah. And I'll probably just put it in my stash. In my Switch bag. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm very interested to see where this lands on your game of the year list.
I'm curious about most games where it lands on, because I keep on thinking like, oh, I got this game and that game and that game. I don't know where they're gonna land.
I'm gonna be listening with bated breath for every number.
Yeah, seriously. Like, no, I expected to like early on. You're like when I name my first couple, you're like, wait, it's this low? Because I think it's been well over 15 games I've talked really highly of, and then by the end of it, you'll think of a game like, wait, Jeff, that didn't make your list, and I'll be like, no.
Yeah, and anyone who has to listen to us a lot or whatever, I'm going to struggle to get to 10. I don't know if I will get to 10.
Yeah, I'm going 15, baby.
just electing to get a 15, and that's going to be hard for him.
Yeah, I got more than 15 games, but yeah, ranking them is going to, oof. That's going to be a struggle.
Not me. Not this point.
And then the individual categories, dear God.
Yeah, so tune into the Jeff show. Tune into Jeff's Game of the Year awards.
Oh boy!
And can I just talk about Arcane again? That's the biggest accomplishment I have, is that League made a good anime.
Yep. I think what else I want to see about it real quick. I really like Samus in this. I think they did really good with her, and the game didn't have much story, but what they did with it and like general lore stuff, I like.
She's a badass.
She is definitely a badass. She did talk once, and that's surprising. Yeah, when she first spoke, I was like, "You can do that?
if you can do that, why didn't you just do it?"
Yeah, made more powerful, you know. Yeah, Samus is awesome.
Her first word, piss.
Yep. Piss off. Ridley shows up, and she's like, "Piss off, Dragon Boy. You're too big."
Cuts the credits.
And then she's running, and Ridley's going after her. She gets through a door, and Ridley gets stuck, and it's like, looks like you're too big. And then Sakurai comes in and is like, you're right. Kick him out of Smash.
He's deleted from all your Switches.
Yep.
He's gone.
Yep. But, yep, highly recommend Metroid Dread, and I think it deserves being up for Goaty at the Game Awards.
You're damn right, boy.
But will it make my top 6? I don't know. We'll see.
Jeff's voting is a lot more contested than the Game Awards. It's a lot more prestigious too.
True.
A lot more prestigious.
Yep.
Well, Jeff, an hour and 13 minutes into this podcast. Let's get into the news. News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
Don't worry, it's not going to be a 2-hour podcast though, because we don't have a whole lot of news. But what we have, Jeff, I'm pretty excited about.
Indeed. This is kind of older news at this point, but we haven't talked about it. we've talked about all the rumors leading up to it, so fuck it, we're talking about it. Multiversus, Darby.
Multiversus.
It is finally announced. It is out in the ether. We have a trailer and that shit. We have the info.
Have we not talked about it since the trailer came out?
No, we have not.
Okay, interesting, yeah.
So I think we like skipped a week or something, and then we did the 200 episode.
You're right. Okay. Hell yeah, then.
Yeah.
That was a good trailer then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was like the follow-up, cleanup. We're talking about voice acting and shit.
Yep. Because all that stuff was announced with the trailer.
Cool. But no, I think I was very impressed with that trailer in a lot of ways. Like, obviously, it's still... I mean, it doesn't look like Smash Bros. Because it's just Smash has an insane budget and insane talent organ and everything like that. And all of the above.
Yeah.
All the things that make Smash is the fucking Tom Brady like video games, just in general. It's crazy. Can't be beat. I think this is a very strong step. I think the fact that it is free to play is going to help it a ton as far as getting people in the door. And then once they're in there, I do think it appeals to me more than like a Brawlhalla and some of these other ones, because it does look like everyone has their own unique moveset that looks, like they're doing some very interesting things there. They look very different from each other. It has the crazy crossover thing like Smash and everything. And I'm not that worried about the free-to-play thing. It looks like there's a very big focus on cosmetics. I think that's how they'll make their money. I'm perfectly fine if there's no way to get the costumes outside of real money. Whatever. If that gets this game past that hurdle that none of these Smash-type games are able to get through, by all means, go for it.
Yeah, I am potentially worried. I guess we'll have to see if this is the case. How it works that you are going to pay for characters.
Yeah, it might be like a league thing.
Well, the reason I say that is I think it was in there. We see like the HUD in like a collectible style menu, and then it had like different things at the top, and it said, I think it said like characters or fight or something. And it said like 14 out of 14 or something like that. Oh. So I think it said that. I might be remembering wrong. It's kind of that obviously insinuates you cannot have all the fighters.
And there's
but you might,
yeah. I mean, that'll be a conversation for sure to have or whatever. We'll see how it's
when the time comes. Yeah, and obviously with things, because compare this to League and the like. This is the kind of thing, especially since it does have offline play confirmed. I'm going to want to have actually all the characters for this game if we like it.
Right. Yeah. And smaller roster obviously at the beginning. And it's just like, and it's probably a game you're going to want to bounce around more. It's not as like grueling competitive
exactly
game.
And obviously you know how I play these type of games. I like to do that random button.
Jeff has no main in Smash. His main is the question mark.
Yes,
but just judging from the gameplay, what did you think?
I think it looks good. I want to see full normal gameplay, because in the trailer it's slowed down a good bit, so it's hard to get a grasp on the speed and everything and how exactly it might move / control. So I want to see that. But as far as exactly what's going on, like you were saying, it definitely looks like characters have unique things. Like we saw Bugs Bunny digging a hole and that kind of stuff. Steven Universe was able to make shields and all that. Batman has his grappling hook. Superman has his heat vision, all that kind of stuff. And also something I'm very curious about is the fact that they said this is kind of a little more focused on 2v2.
Right. Which is interesting.
But they said there is going to be 1v1s in free-for-all mode. 4-player free-for-all.
Yeah, I do really wonder what that means, because a 2v2 focus is something different, but it also still has to be able to be those other things. So it's like, are there going to be some characters that are just like, you don't want to take them in the free-for-all because they're like designed
it's kind of like Smash. It will be kind of like Smash, where characters are better in free-for-all versus 1v1. This might be a little more defined as far as that.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm okay with there being some strategy.
Yeah, because they got the classes with this, and we know Steven and the new original character Rain Dog are support characters. So they might obviously shine in the team things, but they may not, I guess we'll see, have to go, may not be as good in more like 1v1s and stuff.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's different,
Yeah, and because the class things just will kind of, having a support character in this kind of thing, depending how exactly they do it, it's like, especially with Steven kind of going with shields, even like, in the 1v1 or the free-for-alls, make a moveset different from other ones, because he'll be maybe more defensive focused.
Yeah.
And especially since I just remembered this, part of the rumors were, and I don't believe we saw in the gameplay, so it might be confirmed, there is no like dodging like we know of in Smash and shields. So it might be like the shields are from characters like Steven.
You're more relying on your support, your friend.
And I do like it that in the 2v2 stuff, like I mentioned Bugs Bunny digging a hole, your partner character can use that hole to travel.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, and we know from one of the leaks, we know Rick's in, but we know from one of the other leaks that Rick uses his portal gun that they specifically mentioned his teammate can travel through.
Right.
So they got cool stuff like that going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into I just need to see a base level of like the game doesn't just look completely cheap and just like not, it looks fun. It looks like it passed the eye test for the beginning of this to be something that's like, could rival Smash but be different, I'm more optimistic about the longevity of this, or just like for what I've seen so far, than the Nick All-Stars. Not necessarily Nick All-Stars.
I've heard of that in a lot of ways.
Not Nick All-Stars' fault.
Because we haven't really gotten any. They're showing off some alt costumes, but they're doing it kind of slowly. We haven't gotten the characters that they've said were going to come shortly after launch or heard anything about them. Again, I don't blame the devs whatsoever. That's a whole Nick thing.
Yeah, they definitely got the short end of the stick. But like the thing that we were talking about with Nick is that like there was legitimately some of the characters in Nickelodeon All Stars just looked finished, looked good, looked like a full finished model. There was other characters that just straight up looked like they're in a different game. They just looked like they were like in the first pass or whatever, and like they did not get the polish. Like it just looked like an unfinished game. This, even though obviously the art style looks like a little bit more budget than like maybe some other games,
at least cohesive.
It's cohesive. They belong in the same game, and I think it went for a very stylized look that works. Like I like the way that a lot of these characters look in this art style. Like obviously these sprites are great, but like, even in there, like Harley Quinn kind of jumps out to me. Like I think she looks really cool in this art style, and like they all look cartoony, but like they fit together really well.
When hearing about this kind of art style, like or what you think this could be when you hear unified art style, the ones like thrown out there we're going to be worried about are DC characters and live action characters. Yeah. Which DC characters I think look good in this from what we've seen so far, and I think the live action ones what we've seen look good. Well, I mean we haven't seen much, but the little picture we saw of Gandalf looked good.
Yeah.
And Arya
Stark. Let's just appreciate that Arya Stark is in this game.
A lot of people don't appreciate it.
I appreciate it, boy. That's one of the biggest.
Voiced by Maisie Williams.
It's so good. God,
they actually got her to do this.
For me, that is like pillar one of why I'm so excited about this. Is like so damn cool, and I think she looks really great in this. Like it's definitely she looks very different than she looks way more different than her normal live action self than any of these other people or whatever. But like I think they fit her into this art style really well. I think I'm really excited.
Yeah,
God, I just hope there's another Game of Thrones character. I just want at least one more Game of Thrones.
I'm sure we'll get one at some point. I'm just kind of curious, what is the plan going to be on this? How big is the base roster? Because since it is free to play, they can go with a smaller roster in comparison. Just because they'll be frequently adding characters to it.
I want Rue from Euphoria.
It is HBO.
She doesn't fight in the show per se, but hey.
Yeah.
We do it anyway. We go. We
do it. But yeah, this is kind of focused right now on mainly a few couple franchises. Though DC's a weird one just because it's its own universe in itself. So it kind of stands out compared to us having two Steven Universe and two Adventure Time characters.
Right, yeah.
So at least with Adventure Time, you kind of need to have two.
But they're kind of a bunch of different properties.
Yeah.
Even though they're technically all DC.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably going to... we're starting out with 4 immediately. We're probably going to... I wouldn't be surprised if we got another one as DLC at some point.
Hey, we're definitely going to get more DC at some point in time for sure. I was kind of curious who, how long, when, and what's all the stuff in between. Again, I we had the leaks and everything, so we kind of knew a lot of the stuff was coming. But from a general marketing standpoint, I am happy to see Arya as one of the first characters in there, just because it immediately shows, yo, this is what we are doing these.
We mean business.
Yeah,
we're going there.
We are doing these adult shows because even if they we talked about this off mic, even if they we didn't know anything about the leaks, they announced this, and Rick was in Arya's place as far as the initial roster. Me and you would probably be like, okay, they potentially up there for more mature things, but it's still all cartoons. Like, will they go the live action?
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have Gandalf and Arya Stark in our brain.
Yeah, we were like, oh, that'd be cool, but it wouldn't be as like a for sure thing. Like, we can go off the Mad Max territory.
We get LeBron James.
We get LeBron James.
LeBron James versus Arya Stark versus Bugs Bunny. Let's go, baby.
Yep.
Game of dreams. It's a game of a very surreal dream that you never thought would come true.
But a couple other things before we move on. Costumes and stuff look cool. Looks like they're going out there and stuff. Kind of basic stuff for like we've seen from Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny. We're getting the animated series versions of Batman and Harley Quinn for sure. I imagine we'll probably get the same for Wonder Woman and Superman's. We're getting that rollback netcode, Darby. All good shit. And also related to that, we're also getting a network test, or what are they calling it actually? Play test soon, which is good in compared to like Nick All-Stars. Like once this game was announced, I saw one of the Nick All-Star test posts on Twitter, but I was like, well, look at all this neat stuff. It's nice of them to have time and budget.
And again, that's another thing. The fact that they're like subtweeting their bosses makes me think like, oh, this game's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and he also mentioned the play. He's like, ooh, a play test? Oh man, that's nice. All games should have that.
Upsetting.
Yeah. And I signed up for the play test, so hopefully I get in. You should sign up, and we should sign up the Nerd at Large account.
We should.
Just to
game the system.
Yep. And I just want to end by talking about dev pedigree as far as the people on this. Let me see if I can pull it up so I can get exact stuff. This looks like it might be it. Cool. Player First Games is the developer for this. It's a brand new studio, which goes against some of the leaks because everyone either said NetherRealm or WB Los LA or some shit like that. A WB studio. This studio, for I can tell, is not owned by WB whatsoever, but it is a studio put together for this game. But listen, this is their first game. And they have a bunch of people that worked on God of War and League of Legends on it.
Hey,
so
good games.
Yeah, I think seeing stuff like League of Legends and stuff they worked on and the like is nice. Like, okay, they know how to work on competitive stuff, and for the rollback and the online and that kind of stuff makes you feel a little better about it. And as far as like we were talking about how they're gonna do the free to pay plan or whatever with the costumes and stuff, may make you feel better that it might be in a similar vein.
Yeah,
not as crazy.
I agree. I'm optimistic.
Yep.
But you know what I'm even more optimistic about?
What is that, Darby?
Project L, baby.
Project L for loser, am I right?
Yeah, taking a big old L. Screw this game, you know what I'm saying?
Fuck it. Yeah, Darby, we finally got another look, or a real look, at that League of Legends fire.
That we did, baby. Completely unexpected, out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, apparently not out of nowhere.
Well, for me and you.
Oh, no, it was. But yeah, apparently they pretty much confirmed they were going to do something by the end of November. But Darby and I completely missed that.
I did not. Completely went past me. So when Jeff randomly texted me and said, oh, there's new stuff out there, I did not know. It's obviously I was going to be excited for this anyway. I was really excited by the idea of a League fighting game because there's like so many characters and everything you can do with it or whatever. But obviously also now seeing it in person, I think it looks pretty. It looks very pretty.
And what gets you kind of excited because it looks very pretty and everything and looks good. And there's still at least a year of development left.
Yeah, I mean, they said they're very early in it. It's 2023.
At the earliest.
Yeah, so yeah, it has a long way to go, everything, but like the art style they are going for looks stunning. It looks really, really, really good. And a lot of the people are excited because it is a Marvel vs. Capcom type tag fighting game.
Yep. And they say it's like assist fighter or whatever, or assist based. So there's not necessarily confirmation about the tag element of it, if that makes sense.
So we don't know if you're playing a team or something.
Like, there's a team, but some fighters do this where you you pick a main fighter and then you pick like an assist and you only do their assist. They only use the word assist and not tag, but if Maximilian dude pointed it out, it looks like there is a time where at some point Ari gets switched in, gets like fully switched in and does a combo. So it probably is tag based, but as far as I can tell, that may not be technically confirmed.
Okay.
But I want it to be. It probably is. It probably is.
Yeah, I do think that would be cool. But either way, I do think it looks very good, and I think mechanically there's a lot of really cool things going on. Just a few combos and stuff they showed of like Ari doing the like back and forth, like zipping all over. Echo with his time travel thing is so cool because like he can set a point, do some moves, and then like teleport back to that point and do something else. Pro people do crazy shit with that.
And from a marketing standpoint, I really like what they did in general for that, because they announced it during like pretty much an Arcane after show thing. Once the season was done, that's where this thing was announced, and it's like re-revealing this game. Like, okay, here's the new character. It's Echo, who was in the show, and also look at the batshit insane stuff that not really about any other fighting game character does. That a unique character in fighting games.
Yep.
Immediately, and it's an assist / tag fighter. Yeah,
to instantly be showing like some cool mechanics that immediately like get your brain turning of like, oh, how could people use this? And it's not even like a static thing. Like this is a move that he just does. Like it seems like you could do so many things. You could just set that point anywhere in your combo, and then like hit them up, teleport back to when you were in the air a few seconds ago, and then keep the combo going, do some other like crazy things like that. And I also just really love that they are like at least the words that they are saying are making me feel this way. That I think this is going to be a fighting game that I can probably get into more, because they talk about how they want this to be a mechanically input-wise simpler fighting game without like a lot of quarter circle crazy things like that or whatever, to be more of like one direction button pushes, things like that, and for it to be like the actual using your brain what to do when to be like the actual things that you get better at with there. And like in general, just the way that they like worded it, that they want it to be like not a game that there's like a crazy equalizer where like the low people, like the casuals can beat the pros or whatever, but they want you to be able to have fun at every level and like play with people in your level or whatever, and like get better at the game.
I love how literally everything that they said and showed is just Maximilian Dude's wet dream.
Yeah, his entire channel is just based on,
The only thing that's not a wet dream from is the League of Legends license. but he likes the characters.
They're strong characters.
No. I mean, that's why I think this works so well and could break into the fighting game thing, even if none of these people actually play League. Is the character design their own, and the potential for their moveset is just so strong on their own.
Yeah, and there's so many, like Echo is just one example of like so many people that have like kind of batshit crazy moves in the MOBA that to just see how they're going to translate into fighting games. And that's already like that whole like him teleporting back a few seconds. That's not like a new thing for the fighting game. That's what he does in the MOBA, but it just takes on a different, like it's like a different form in the fighting game, because it's like, oh wow, I didn't even think about that. It's like you could do so many things with that. And there's lots of examples of that kind of thing, Like, and I'm definitely I'm gonna aim for 2 weeks from now. I'm gonna try to like make what I think would be a cool base roster of this, and maybe think up some of their moves and everything, because there's so many. Like Nico makes a clone of herself, and you can send it in like you and the clone in two different directions. Well, there's a fighting game thing like that. You don't know which one's the clone and which one's her coming at you or some crazy shit like that. You do lots of stuff.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
Bunch of crazy shit. Yeah, and I feel good about this as being a good fighting, because, well, you got one of the co-founders of EVO as one of your lead guys, so he might know a thing or two about fighting games and what the fighting game community actually wants.
That's what it feels like. This similar to all the other League things that are happening right now. That it just feels like these developers are being given freedom to make the game they want to make, and this really does feel like you said, this feels like the fighting game community people making a fighting game that they want to make, and less of like, well, how long is this gonna take? How much is it? It's like, no, take your time with the game, do all you want, like to make sure it has really good online and everything. I mean, for whatever ills that Riot has, because they certainly have many.
Pretty long list.
Pretty long list. They obviously understand like their entire company is built off of online games. Yeah, it's like it's if someone's gonna focus on that kind of thing here,
Yeah, and again, like Multiversus, this is free to play. This is going to be a normal 2D fighting game that's going to be free to play. Which, as me and you kind of thought, again, mostly off mic, talked about. This is probably the way to go going forward. Yes. And because fighting games are expensive as fuck if you really want to get into it, because you got to pay $60 for the most part, some are $40, and then you get you got to pay at least as much of that, usually more, in DLC characters to kind of and in fighting games you want to at least be able to play against them.
Right. This is my big thing of and I get it whenever you first hear the free to play that you kind of I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of this applies to Multiverses as well.
Yes, yeah. A lot of what I'm about to say does apply there, but especially this type of 2D fighter thing, the Street Fighters, Mortal Kombat, Multiverse, Dragon Ball Fighters, all of these, Guilty Gear, all of them. Yeah. We have already gotten to the point where we have lost any sort of benefit of not being free to play would give us. Because they nickel and dime you just as much as a free to play game does, but you have to pay $60 just for the privilege of being nickel and dimed, basically. It's we're getting no benefit from this anymore. Once upon a time, with some of these multiplayer games, it was you pay $60 up front. So that's what you did it. Your spending days are behind you. You have your the game or whatever you're going. Mm-hmm. And even there's some games technically Overwatch has microtransactions that you can do or whatever. But I never had any desire or need to do that or whatever. I paid $60. I had the game and boom, I'm good. I'm I have that. That's just not how fighting games have worked for a long ass time. If you get into a fighting game, people wonder why these fighting games not take off or whatever. Why don't they get really big? Well, probably because if you decide I'm going to get into Guilty Gear, if you really want to get into Guilty Gear, you're spending $100-something. It's the same thing with all these games.
It doesn't help to add on to that, even if people who may not be in the know about how much DLC, people look into it, they're interested, and it's this Guilty Gear game looks good, and maybe I'll get a day one, let me look into it. And then they immediately see, there's a DLC character right away that's not part of the $60 I'm spending.
Great.
Yeah. Guilty Gear technically did. It was close, but not day one. But yeah, they've been other fighting games.
They know that it can look bad, so they do it a little bit.
Well, they're in their own games. There's been day one DLC that hit in high pre-orders. There's no reason for those characters not to be on the disc.
I went to GameStop to get Goro for Mortal Kombat 10.
Yeah,
it's dumb. Yeah, so I'm if that wasn't the case, I would be I kind of agree with you about the being about the free to play, but we've already so far gone. We're already so far past that. The free to play just will give it an edge. You'll at least get a lot more people in the door, and then they're still going to charge for characters, do things like that. But it was already going to happen anyway. At least we don't have to pay up front for it now. Yeah. And I do think this is going to that free to play quality of it. Even this more. I hope Multiversus succeeds or whatever. This thing free to play League fighting game looking as good as it does right now. I think this thing's gonna be huge.
Oh yeah,
and especially competitive in the fighting game community. Lock in the Evo spot, just lock it in. It's there,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, I feel a lot more confident in Project L being successful. I feel good about Multiversus though. That it's going to partly depend on. Obviously, we need to see more real gameplay and how the monetization is going to work in that game exactly. Will probably, change my opinion a little bit. But yeah,
I agree.
But yeah, League should be a sure thing. But yeah, I feel like there's a chance Multiversus characters could potentially be free or easier to get. Maybe. Probably not, but I see that potential. League, yeah. Because Multiversus will have the skins, like we said, and they're going to do a lot of crazy stuff with that. I have trouble more seeing that with Project L. I know League of Legends really likes their skins, but I feel like with the game they're going for, skins are just harder to implement. So they might be less of them. I think they might still be there, but it won't be their main focus.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I do think they will be in there. But yeah. I think it might be right. They might do both.
Yeah. I think they will be both. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not. I do not think. I would not hold out any hope of you getting like all the Project L characters for free. I think there's gonna be a base roster you might get for free, but then, added characters I think will cost money.
Yeah,
and I'll probably buy them like the sucker I am.
Other news.
Other news.
All right, Darby, we got a couple things before we head out of here. All right, Darby, Hitman 3, a game I love, came out this year.
Well, top 15. That's what
Lock it in for top 15. You know what's fun right here? It will be in my top 15 list. I'm confident in saying. Who knows where? But yeah, Darby, when they were talking about this game, they were like, VR, PSVR only, no new maps, nothing. You know, we're gonna do this weird 7 deadly sins shit, and that's it. Well, that's not true anymore, Darby.
Oh, they lied.
They put a year 2 trailer thing out, and they're like, new maps, Darby, new maps.
New maps.
Which is very important in Hitman. One of them looks very nice, like a mountain mansion looking motherfucker. It looks cool. Just a little tease. And they announced ray tracing on the computers.
Trace them rays.
Yes. And very important to me, PC VR. Yeah, it was like it's not. I'm actually a little surprised about this.
Yeah,
I guess it just had a year exclusivity. The way they made it sound was like Sony fronted the bill, so it was just gonna be PlayStation exclusive forever.
Yeah, as soon as I was hearing that kind of things or whatever, that like financially this wouldn't have happened without them. I'm like, okay, well that's just that's never gonna come.
Yeah. Well, and they also mentioned Hitman 3 is the most successful Hitman ever, and the new World of Assassination trilogy, the 3 most recent Hitman games, have reached over 50 million players.
Wow.
So it's done very well. I think
really
so. That explains why they went back on, we're not doing much new content, and they decided a year later, okay, yeah, we're adding all this crazy shit.
Well, 007, we can do these both at the same time, I guess.
True. I didn't even think about that. But this has me very excited, and yeah, I'm going to rebuy the trilogy on PC.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have done that normally, but I really want to play it in VR because people who don't know, the PlayStation VR, you have to use the controller, and it is very wonky.
Yeah.
But you actually get to use like the Move controllers or whatever, and they showed videos on the PC VR, and it will be better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, I really want that.
That's
because Hitman 3 VR or Hitman VR in general, because you can play the whole trilogy in VR. It's like one of my favorite VR games.
It's ludicrous what it was crazy that they were doing the VR in general. I was like, oh, okay, Hitman 3 will have VR. It's like, oh no, we went back. We went back and added it to the first 2 games. Like, wait, what?
Yeah. I remember I remember the look on my face because I think it was during the announcement where I was like, oh, it's just gonna be a little mode, and then they're like, whole trilogy. I'm like, what? I think it was a solo reaction. I popped off a little bit. I was like dumbfounded.
Completely. Bonkers. Bonkers shit.
And it's just so much fun. Like, obviously, in the VR, it's, you go the more silly route with it, but it's just, man, it just brings out the silliness of Hitman so well.
IO is just, they just give you so much for so long. I think that's probably how they got a lot of people in the door, is they're like, well, fuck, I get all of them? If I just buy Hitman 3, I get all of them? I'm like, well, shit. Or whatever it was. You got it cheaper or something.
Well, it's not that. You could play it in the Hitman 3 engine if you owned them. But they were like dirt cheap by that point on the console. So
whatever. Yeah. All I know is you could get all of them for like way less price than you should.
I didn't pay much to get the previous 2.
Yep.
But it is crazy and I love it. I'm very excited.
Hell yeah.
And very good timing for my PC.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jeff has a PC now.
It's true.
I don't think we said that on the podcast yet. Yeah, Jeff's a pro gamer.
I got my. Sorry, I about to say Oculus MetaQuest 2 ready to go to play Alex and Hitman. Epic Games has acquired Walk Band developer Harmonix, and they're gonna be working on Fortnite shit. Some weird music shit for Fortnite.
Well, Fortnite does do a lot of music things.
No, I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like they'll probably do something crazy and weird and awesome with it.
It'll probably be sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Harmonix wasn't going to have a lot.
It's Fortnite. Who the fuck knows what they'll do?
Yeah, I mean, this seems sad, but no one went out and bought the Guitar Hero revival, and I know that wasn't them, but like, no one bought these rhythm game revival. You're not going to do it, so fucking let them, go off and do it. I like this seems like, they're just putting them on Fortnite. It's like they're probably gonna do something fucking crazy. They did the whole Ariana Grande concert and everything. I can see them coming out with full modes.
Sorry, I got it.
If you go bring out your Rock Band controllers, you can do something in Fortnite with your Rock Band controllers.
Sorry, I got it. Naruto Rock Opera.
Let's go, baby. And they're gonna put Green Day in there. It's like a whole American Idiot thing or something.
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah. The rumored PlayStation remakes seems to be Chrono Cross.
That would be sweet if it's true.
It's looking true.
Is it looking true?
It's for looks of all the people who might be in the know, the general people, they all agree. Yeah, this seems to be it. But the point of contention is on what scale of the remake remaster scale is this? Because I've heard, it's Resident. Or I was about to say Resident Evil. Resident Evil also. Final Fantasy VIII remaster style. Or full on remake.
Yeah, it definitely changes a lot depending on what. I mean, no matter what, it would be cool.
Yeah,
for that to come back in any way. But full on remake.
Oh, and to add a little fuel to the fire, there's this mobile game. I forget the fucking name of it. That people was able to data mine some shit from it and saw that there was going to be some crossover with Square property soon. And then that mobile game posted a teaser, which for people who have played the game, like, this is obviously Chrono Cross. Timing is interesting. I think there's maybe a decent chance this is announced at the Game Awards. Potentially. Because the talk of this was to be announced in December, if you don't, if you remember.
I didn't, but I do remember us talking about
this. Yeah. So I feel like this is a pretty good chance.
I hope it's big if it's just in general, but I
think there will also be a lot of people understanding like, why not Trigger?
Yeah, why not Trigger? Which that does make me worried. It's like this is a smaller thing, and then we're doing Trigger too, but they're small.
I'm just gonna look at this because I'm not as familiar with this stuff, though. I do want to, I don't know. Maybe they will go to Trigger. I don't know. We'll see. Next thing. A Super Smash Bros. Tournament circuit has been announced, Darby. Have you seen this?
No.
So there's this group called Panda Global, which is this kind of esports related thing with a lot of Smash players and the like that do a bunch of cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
They apparently talked to Nintendo and have made an official Super Smash Bros. North American circuit where they're playing both Ultimate and Melee for cash prizes.
Got Nintendo to agree to this shit?
Yes, Dari, this is actually very big for the Smash community. This is the biggest thing. I saw stuff about Smash players crying.
I'm surprised.
They feel vindicated for the first time ever, especially when
what changed?
I don't know. Nintendo officially talked about Melee.
I can't wait until next week when Nintendo's like, wait a minute, what? Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And the fact is, North America, I think, makes sense. Obviously, they had to talk about the Japanese side, but it makes sense because the American side for this shit seems to be a lot more open for this stuff, and if it was up to them, would be more of this stuff would have happened.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to rehash it, but it's you are sitting on there's so many other companies that would fucking kill to have a game that has this big of a competitive community, and they would be using it like crazy and supporting it like crazy. But Nintendo is actively trying to kill it. They're trying to have we want no competitive community for this game.
Yep.
It's so wild.
Yeah, so this is happening next year, so that'll be fun.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to watching some of that stuff.
That's hype.
Yep. And it'll be all this stuff, and we'll actually get to see all the new DLC characters in local matches.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's been Forever.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yep. Now we're gonna end on a couple of delays, Darby. Saints Row has been delayed to August 23rd. It was coming out in February. Probably smart.
No,
Get away from all that stuff. But
That's better.
because of the amount of that delay, it sounds like they needed to get some more work done, probably. Which take all the time
that's
you
fine.
need.
Yeah, that's gonna be better for the game, I think.
Yep. Pragmata. Do you remember that game, Darby?
I do. Weird lady in the spaceman.
Yep. From Capcom.
Very Kojima-ass.
I forgot it was supposed to come out in 2022.
I did too. Yeah,
It got delayed to 2023.
never knew it had.
And the little girl apologized to us.
I heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I accept your apology. Do better, little girl.
Yeah.
I expect better from you.
Yeah. Learn to make games.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the podcast. It did almost get to 2 hours, even though I said it wasn't going to. But it did. It was a very good one, though.
Yep.
Very good discussions had all around. Again, make sure you tune in to twitch.tv/Large Gaming on Thursday for that Game Awards. That's going to be a good ass time. I'm going to have a good time.
But not this Thursday.
Next Thursday. Yes.
The 9th.
The 9th.
I'll be 28.
Oh, look at him. Look at this old man.
Yep.
So you look forward to that. That'll be a good time. And until next time, Piplup is our supreme ruler.
All hail.